So I added the vermicelli. You can see I didn't record it to record the shorts before because I just forget it. So you can see I've added the vermicelli in water, and we had the onion and some French beans, and then I also add the tofu. Like you can see, this is the tofu that I have added into it. So that's what I've added into it. I'm gonna add the spices now. We're gonna proceed with the spices. Like you can see, I've added the water and the tofu and the French beans and the onions and the vermicelli and water. So I'm gonna add the spices now. So you can see I've added the spices into it, so I'm just gonna mix it well. So this is the first time I've added the vermicelli with the tofu. I get the tofu and I cut them into the small pieces. Like you can see the tofu here. Okay, I hope it's visible. Let me show you. So this is a kind of like the tofu, and it's had the peanuts and the soya beans in there. So it's a little bit different that I bought here in Ubud, Bali. They actually serve me with the noodles. So I get them, and I decided to add them in the vermicelli that I'm cooking right now with the tofu, with the French beans, with the onion, and with the added spices and water and all that stuff. So yeah. So you can see how it's actually going. I added the turmeric powder to it to give it a different taste because I had a tofu, and with the tofu you need to add something, otherwise it tastes very bland, and I like adding the spices and different flavors to it to make it a little bit more cool and more tasty. So that's why I added the turmeric and the chili powder to it, and then I added the salt to it so that it tastes well, because usually the tofu and temph is all kind of like bland to me. It may be for different for other people, but for me I find it bland if I don't add spices or sauce or something to it to add the flavor to it. So it will going to boil and the vermicelli will going to be get ready. I'll see if I want to add more water to it, and that's what we're going to proceed further. We are almost done with this vermicelli, which means I added the tofu, onion and French beans. We are almost done with this one. So I'm just gonna switch the flame off and it's ready to be served. Now of course you can if you want to actually evaporate the water more, then you can just put it on a simmer or just keep it like this for a second or so, but don't keep it for long, otherwise it will going to stick to the corner of the pan. It will going to get burned. So maybe keep it on a simmer or just switch off the flame and put the lid on it so that it will going to be evaporating the water from it. So I'm gonna just switch off the flame because it's almost ready. Let's just switch off the flame. So here it's our vermicelli. It's a vegan vermicelli. Basically, I added the tofu, the onion, the French beans, and different spices, turmeric powder, chili powder, salts, and all that. Because tofu is too bland, so I added all of these spices to give it a flavor, because I don't like it like that. It's too plain for me to consume it like that. That's why I added the different flavor to it. So it's ready to be served. So I'm just gonna take my cloth. Now you can use anything, because since I'm living in Airbnb, so I don't have that equipment to hold. You should use a tool to actually hold the hot items. Now since I'm living in Airbnb in Ubud, Bali, I don't have a one, so I'm just going to use this cloth, but please protect your hands, it may get burned. So here our food is ready to be served. So I'm going to serve in my plate. Now you can add the leafy stuffs or oregano or some chili flakes or whatever you want to add, or you can serve it with the sauce or lemons or whatever you want, but I'm gonna eat like that only because I think that is gonna look more tasty. So you can see the tofu pieces are here. You can see the tofu pieces. So that's the vermicelli I'm making in Ubud in my Airbnb in Bali while traveling. I do cook depending on the flavor that I want from the food, and sometimes I eat out, so it depends. So it's ready to be served. You can see it's ready to be served.